Welcome to another Study With Me series where I'm tackling the category of alertness. Hi, I'm Dorian from Driving Theory UK, where on this channel I help you pass your theory test and driving test first time by giving you hints, tips and tricks that you can help while you study and learn to drive. So as mentioned, in this category I'm doing alertness, where I'll do a 20 question mock test. I'll break it down for you into simple chunks, giving you hints, tips and tricks along the way that you can use while you are studying. So let's not waste any time and jump onto my desktop. First question, you're waiting to turn right at the end of a road. Technically, if you're at the end of the road, you're at a giveaway line. So you should look for little nuggets, break it down, try to visualize yourself in that situation, especially if you're taking driving lessons. What should you do if your view is obstructed by a parked vehicle? So the key bit there is what should you do to make it safer. Stop and then move forward slowly and carefully for a clear view. That's a possible. So stop at the giveaway line first, take in the information you possibly can with the parked cars there, and then creep forward. For those of you taking driving lessons, that would be peep and creep and carefully have a clear view of the road. They can give you the same question and it will be use reflections or listen for vehicles, motorbikes, lorries coming down the road. But let's read the other options. Move quickly to where you can see you only block. Let's do that again, dyslexia. Move quickly to where you can see so you can only block traffic from one direction. If you're blocking traffic deliberately, you can't be safe. Wait for a pedestrian to let you know when it's safe for you to merge. Right, it's got a keyword there, safe, but you're waiting for a pedestrian to let you know. You need to be making your own decisions when you're driving. So as much as I say safe, safely and safety, it's got in the question as a possible option, but it doesn't always work. I do go on record to say it doesn't always work. In this case, because you're allowing someone else to make your own decisions, it can't be safe. Turn your vehicle around immediately and find another junction to use, which makes no sense. So it's going to be the first one. How can you make sure that the satellite navigation, sat-nav, system doesn't distract you when you're driving? Only set the destination when you're lost. The whole point of a sat-nav is so you don't get lost and get you to your destination probably slightly quicker, avoiding traffic, depending on which one that you use. Set it before starting your journey. That's a possible. You really want to set it before you start your journey. So I'm going to click that one. Choose a voice that you find calming. No. Turn it off while you're driving in built up areas, which makes no sense. It's going to be the first one. Yeah, sell it, forget it, basically is what they're saying. You're driving on a wet road. What should you do if you have to stop your vehicle in an emergency? Again, should. It's something that you definitely should be doing in this situation. In emergency, they're talking about emergency stop or control stop, as it's now called in the driving test. Someone's run out in front of you, someone's pulled out in front of you. You need to stop the car pretty quickly. Keep both hands on the steering wheel, which is an option. If you skid, you need to keep both hands on the steering wheel because all the weight goes to the front wheel, so you need as much control as possible. Apply parking brake and foot brake together. You're never going to be doing that while the car is in motion. Give an arm signal, no, and select reverse gear. And again, if it's an emergency, you're never going to get time to go into reverse gear. So it's going to be the first one. Keep both hands on the steering wheel so you got full control. Why are these yellow lines painted across the road? This came up in one of the previous categories, and that's how the theory test work. Some of the questions overlap. These are called rumble strips. They're painted slightly higher than the floor so the car rumbles over them. It's to let you about your speed on approach to a hazard, normally to a roundabout. As you can see, it's a roundabout image there. To help you choose the correct lane, no. To help keep the correct separation distance, no. To tell the distance to the roundabout, no. To make you aware of your speed, yeah. It rumbles. If it's a smooth drive, it's going to rumble smoothly. Obviously, if you're driving too fast, it's going to rumble violently. You're driving your car. When may you use an handheld mobile phone? Right, let me just explain this. This is what we call the New Drivers Act. For those of you taking driving lessons, for those of you going to be taking driving lessons once you pass your theory test, you're on 2 years probation, just in case you didn't know. So if you get 6 points or more, you're going to lose your license. If you get caught using a mobile, it is 6 points straight away. The old Drivers Act was 3 points and you had to be physically using your mobile while you was driving. The New Drivers Act says if you're parked up with the key in the ignition and you're on your mobile, you can get 6 points on your license. So to be legal, technically, if you're going to use your phone, park up, take the key out. So let's go back to the question and break that down for you. So I'll read the question again. You're driving your car. When may you use a handheld mobile phone? When your car has an automatic transmission? No. When you're driving at less than 30 miles an hour? No. When you're parked safely? Again, the key word there is safely. So I'm going to tick that one because that's an option. When you're receiving a call? No. So in this case, it's when it's parked safely. The other option they can give you is when it's unsafe for you to stop. So example, you're driving on the motorway, something's fell off your car. It's going to be instructed to other vehicles. You can phone the emergency services, but it has to be an emergency number, 999 or a 112 number to say what's happened. And that's the only time you can legally use your phone while the car is in motion. But on this one, they're talking about parked safely, but make sure the key is out of the ignition. You're on a long motorway journey. What should you do? Again, should keyword. You do if you start to feel sleepy. Drive faster to complete your journey sooner. You're faster, so it can't be safe. Play some loud music. No. Leave a motorway and stop in a safe place. Again, safe keyword. I'm going to tick that as a possible. Stop on the hard shoulder for a rest. The only time you can stop on the hard shoulder is when it's an emergency, i.e. you've broken down. What's likely to happen if you use a hands-free phone while you're driving? What's likely to happen is the question, the key bit there, likely. As I said, always take a little golden nuggets out of the question rather than just reading it, go to the answers. Try to picture what they are asking you. It will improve road safety. We know it's not going to improve road safety, hence why 6 points on the license if you do it when you're driving. It will divert your attention. Yes, that's a possible. It will increase your concentration. No, it's not going to do that. It will reduce your view. Well, it depends on where you're holding the phone. In terms of this case, it's going to divert your attention because obviously you're focused on talking rather than driving. Why should you switch your headlights on when it first starts to get dark? To make your dials easier to see. That does help, to be fair. When you're turning your lights on, your dials do light up. But again, it says should. There's not going to be that one because the street lights are lit. No. But others can see you more easily. Yes. You only turn your lights on to see and to be seen from a distance, obviously, because it's getting dark. So that you blend in with other drivers. No. When do windscreen pillars cause a serious obstructions to your view? If you don't know what the pillars are the bits at the sides, at the two sides, that's the pillars. And to be fair, they when you're on bends and corners, to be fair, in junctions. So let's just see what option they gave us. Let's read the question again. When do windscreen pillars cause a serious obstruction to your view? Notice serious obstruction. When you're approaching a one-way street, because you're in a one-way street, the answer is going to be no to that one. When you're approaching bends and junctions, yes, that's the serious obstructions. When you're driving on a dual carriageway, no. When you're driving on a motorway, no. And if you didn't know, dual carriageways and motorways technically are the same thing, so be careful with that. You're traveling along this road. How should you pass for cyclists? So my advice are always given. I'll say it again and again and again until you guys keep passing. Look at the image first, take it in, and then go to the question. Do not read the question and go straight to the answers because the images can sometimes give you clues. So safety. Keep close to them as you pass. No, can't be safe. Leave them plenty of room as you pass, obviously, because cyclists swerve around drains, manhole covers. So you want to give them plenty of room. Change down one gear before you pass. No. And sound your horn as you pass. Obviously, that's going to scare them. So you don't want to be doing that. You're following a large vehicle. Why should you stay a safe distance behind it? Right, let's see what the options are. You'll give the driver a chance to see you in their mirrors. Read that question again. You're following a large vehicle, so you're behind the large vehicle. Why, again, should you stay a safe distance behind? You'll give the driver a chance to see you in their mirrors. Yeah, that's a possible. There's a saying, if you can't see my mirrors, I can't see you, which is true. There's going to be that at the moment. You'll be able to corner more quickly. No. You'll keep out of the wind better. No. You'll help the large vehicle to stop more easily. No. It's going to be that one. What does the term blind spot mean? Right, for those of you learning to drive and for those of you that's not learning yet, blind spots means checking over your shoulder. The mirrors do not pick up everything. So when you are driving or moving off, on your driving test, you're going to get you're going to get stopped on your driving test about 4 times, parked up on the left, uphill, downhill, level gradient, angle start. And every time you park up, the examiner wants to see that you are checking your blind spot. So just looking there and looking there is not enough. He wants to see that you're going to be looking over your shoulder and have a good look. Remember, you are looking for something. So blind spot means checking over your shoulder. Let's see what option they gave us. Read the question again. What does the term blind spot mean? An area covered by your left hand mirror? No. An area covered by your right hand mirror? No. An area not visible to the driver? Yes. An area not covered by your headlights? No. So yeah, your blind spot checks is looking over your shoulder. Make sure you do that once you pass your theory test and going to take your driving test. Right, what should you do? Again, should. Notice these shoulds coming up on the alertness a lot. Again, it's what you should do in the context of the question is what they're asking. So what should you do before slowing down or stopping your vehicle? Sound your horn? No. Use your mirrors? Yes. Because if the eyes don't see the problem, it can't tell the brain what to do. That's what I tell my pupils. So check your mirrors. And actually has a perception, by the way. For those of you doing the theory, obviously if you're watching this video, you're doing your theory. For those of you who haven't started the hazard perception yet, or doing the hazard perception, that click represents you checking your mirrors. Flash your headlights and select a higher gear. No, it's going to be checking the mirrors for safety. What should you do if you can't see clearly behind when you're reversing? Right, I'm going to do the answer first. I'm going to explain what the answer is. Let me see what the answer is first. Again, notice should. I've stressed this so much in the alertness categories. Again, I repeat, it's what you should do in the context of the question. It's quite, sometimes it can give you two options. One that's outside of the question that makes sense and one within the question. You're choosing what you should do in the context of the question. Right, open the door to look behind? No, because you're opening the door and leaning out basically. That can't be safe. Ask someone to guide you. That's going to be a possible option. Look in the near side mirror? No. Open the window to look behind. Right, before I reveal the answer, let me explain this. First of all, the should in this case is in the context of the question. Sometimes they give you two options, one that's in context outside of the question and one with inside the question. That's what you got to understand with the alertness category, hence why they keep putting should all over the place. But anyway, the question, let me just read it again because it's not on screen. What should you do if you can't see clearly behind when reversing? Now they give you two options. This one they gave us, ask someone to guide you. So I'll explain it a little bit more. When they're talking about seeing behind you, most pupils go, in my class anyway, they go for rear view mirror because obviously the rear view mirror shows behind you, but they are talking about behind the car from the boot down. So you're talking about a small child possibly playing hide and seek. The recycling boxes, they're small black bags, stuff that you can't see behind the boot. So as much as you're looking in the rearview mirror, it shows you directly behind you, but not below the boot. That's why they go for the rearview mirror answer. Now, when it gives you the option, which it did for us, ask someone to guide you, the pupil in the class always says, but what if no one's there? The theory test is black and white. It's always going to be safe or it isn't. So in this case, as far as they're concerned, it's going to be someone there. There may not be someone in real life, but in the theory test, if that's the option, there is going to be someone there to help guide you backwards. That's the other one. And if it doesn't give you the option of ask someone to guide you, it's going to be get out and check. So you're going to get out your car, walk behind, check there's nothing there, and then jump back in. So hopefully that covers the base. Hopefully that makes sense the way I was explaining it there. So let's go back to revealing the answer just to make sure it's correct. What does this curved arrow road marking mean? So look at the sign, is this one. So the options are the road ahead bends to the left. If you look in the distance, it doesn't. That's why I say look at the images, bends to the right. Heavy vehicles should take the next road on the left to avoid a weight limit. No. Overtaking traffic should move back to the left. Yes. So if you pass some of the lines, remember with signs and images, you're always going from bottom to top. So if you look at this image, you're on the left hand side going to the top. That's why overtaking traffic, so the lines are broken, you can overtake because the lines are broken, but once you overtake you need to get back to the left when safe to do so. And the last one, the road ahead has a camber to the left, which is no. Where should, again I stress, should you avoid overtaking? So where should you avoid overtaking? In a one-way street. It's one way. The other thing I will add, this is the common answer that most pupils go for. They go for one-way street. The reason for that, let me just change to this scene so you can see me, make the point to reinforce the learning. The reason why most pupils go for one-way street, they see it as a single track road. It's only room wide enough for one car. So obviously their picture, if it's only wide enough for one car, then obviously you can't overtake, which technically is true. But in a one-way street, you can have lanes. So you can have 3 lanes, for example, which means you can pass left, right, or middle. It makes no difference because everybody's going in the same direction. So it's not going to be a one-way street. Just after a bend, again, be careful. It says just after a bend. So if you're after the bend, it means you're on the straight. That's going to be a safe place to overtake, not on the bend or before the bend. So after the bend, it's going to be straight. So it will be safe to overtake on that. Watching a dip in the road, that's a possible, and on a dual carriageway. Now, if you don't know what a dip is, it's sort of when you come up and over. Sometimes it's called a brow of a hill. Let me just do that. The brow of a hill. So the last thing you're going to do is overtake somebody and you don't know what's on the other side. So that's why that answer is what it is. So it's a dip in the road. What's most likely to distract you while you're driving? Most likely. Using the mirror, no, that's part of driving, that's standard. Using a mobile phone, we just spoke about using mobiles earlier on in the previous question, so chances it's going to be that one, but still read all the answers just to make sure. Using the demister, if you don't know what a demister is, it's the heaters, the front heater for the windscreen or the back windscreen heater, and that's also part of the driving test. Show me, tell me, and your instructor will discuss that with you if they haven't already. And using the windscreen wipers, and again, that's not going to distract you because you need to know how to turn them on. Again, that's part of the show me, tell me as well for the driving test. You're waiting to emerge from a junction. Emerging from a junction is coming out. So you are at the give way line, for example, and you're coming out to turn left, right, or go straight, depending if it's a crossroads or not. The windscreen pillars is restricting your view, which you spoke about on a previous question. What should you be particularly aware of? Now, notice again, particularly aware of, okay? And the door pillar is this, as I said, it's the two bits at the side between the windscreen and the side window. So be particularly aware of lorries. You want to be aware of lorries, but not particularly because they're big. Coaches, again, same as the lorries, be aware, but they're big. Motorcyclists or cyclists, it's going to be what you need to be particularly aware of because they're smaller and take longer to come into view. So it's going to be that one, and buses, same as lorries and coaches, to be fair. You're turning right onto a dual carriageway. What should, keeps coming up, what should you do before emerging? So in the context of the question is what we're looking for. Right, so look at the image. So let me just point this out, because when this comes out again in the classroom, my pupils get confused with this. You're here and you're coming out to turn right. So you're going where the white van is, and you've got a set, what we call a central reservation in the middle. That's the bit you need to be concerned about. But I don't know what context they're going to give the answer to, so we'll discover that in a minute. But yeah, let me just repeat that. You're here looking to come out, so the give way line, and you're going to come out and you're going to be concerned about the central reservation because you're turning right where the van is. You're not doing right where the red car is, you're doing right where the van is. Right, so read the question again, let's break it down so it's fresh. You're turning right onto a dual carriageway. What should you do before emerging, so before coming out? Stop, apply the parking brake, and then select a low gear. That's not the answer because automatics don't have a low gear that you can select if you think about it realistically. So you're looking for a generic answer that's going to apply for all car drivers. Make sure that you leave enough room for the vehicle behind. Again, that answer comes up sometimes in the classroom. It's not possible to leave enough room for the vehicle behind because if the vehicle behind wants to get close to you, there's nothing you can do about it. Position your vehicle well to the left of the side of the road. That's not going to be an option because if you read the question carefully, again, looking for golden nuggets, you're turning right. So if you're turning right, why would you want to position your vehicle well to the left? Check that the central reservation is wide enough for your vehicle, basically for it to fit. So let me just explain that in a bit more detail now the answer's been revealed. So you're going to come out, you're not going to come out, you're going to stop there first, and then you're going to check to make sure it's wide enough for you to fit. The reason why you want to check to see if you can fit, you're going to, if you can fit, you're going to break it down into two parts, keeping it simple. And that's how you should do with your driving. So you're going to check to the right, nothing coming. So after the red car's gone, based on the image, you can come out halfway, stop in the middle because it's wide enough for you to fit, and then deal with the left hand side separately and then go. Now they can give you the same question, but the central reservation is narrow, then you're going to go all in one go. So you need to make sure it's safe to the right, safe to the left. You're not going to stop, and then you're going to go in one motion. So check to see how wide that central reservation is. So let's go back to that. Check that the central reservation is wide enough is what we said. So it's that one. What should you do before making a U-turn? Right, they can give you different options on this, and I will cover the answer that come from the classroom which are wrong if they give it to us on this, and I'll explain a bit more detail so you fully understand. Right, select a higher gear than normal. If you're going to do a U-turn, it should be done in a low gear because it's done at a slow speed. There's not going to be an option. Give an arm signal as well as using indicators. Sometimes my pupils go for this one. You're not going to give a signal and you're not going to give an indicator when you're doing a U-turn. And I explain why when they reveal the answer. Check road markings to see that U-turns are permitted. I will stress again, sometimes my pupils will go for this one. You're not checking for road markings, you're not checking for signage. It's the theory test. They're always going to put you in a safe situation. That's what I keep saying about the theory test. It's black or white. It's either safe or it's not. They're never going to put you in a situation where you can't do a U-turn, if that makes sense. And it's look over your shoulder for a final check. Now, this goes back to the blind spot checks that we spoke about earlier on. As instructors, we call it blind spot. Theory tests call it shoulder check. So it's this one, check your blind spots. And the reason why you don't give a signal is because you wouldn't do it if a car was coming. So you check your blind spots, literally look over your left shoulder, right shoulder, nothing's coming, so there's nothing to signal for. And then you just do your U-turn and go on your merry way. So that's the reason why, that's the answer, and that's the reason why you don't give a signal. So there you have it, another category completed, which is alertness. Again, a little bit of common sense on that one, but notice they use the word should, which I kept mentioning throughout. As I said before, I will say again, it should do within the context of the question. If you go back and watch the replay, if you didn't realize it, there's sometimes you had two possible answers. One was sort of related to outside the question. You could have done it, but it's not related to the question. Should is always going to be related in the context of the question, how it was asked on that side of things. So hopefully you got some benefit from that. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to show you a video here. I'm going to show you one here. Go and watch off which one's relevant to you, and I should catch you in that video.